Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is the Vaquero series that I promised. This is episode 1 of the Vaquero series. In this episode today, I'm going to be going over Californio history, a widely requested topic by many of my viewers. So, without further ado, let's jump into the video and learn more about the Californios. So, in 1769, Spain ordered a military expedition into Alta California to explore and occupy the land. They did this because of the Russian and British influences further up the coast in Oregon and Washington, otherwise known as the Oregon Territory. The initial expedition, known as the Sacred Expedition, was led by Father Junipero Serra and the famous explorer Gaspar de Portola and military man. This expedition led to the founding of the mission at San Diego and opened the door for Spanish missions all the way to Sonoma. The Spanish government based their colonization largely on the premise of converting the native population. Therefore, they gave enormous power to the mission leaders. According to the California Missions Foundation, they forced the Native Americans to build the missions, live on them, and work them. These same Native Americans would eventually earn the right to be called vaquero alongside their Spanish brethren. Meanwhile, the Spanish citizens who made it to Alta California were also awarded large land grants by the Spanish government, often informally, which would eventually come back to bite them in the butt when Mexico lost California to the United States. On their land grants, they established ranchos and ranching communities, and they also refined their stockmanship and horsemanship. And as you see above, these are the spade bits that they used to ride. Their work revolved around their livestock, and they had a vibrant hide and tallow trade. Then, after the Mexican War of Independence in 1821, the government in Alta California shifted. The new government took the power away from the missions and placed it in the hands of secular governors and ranching families. The new government gave prominent families more than 500 land grants. Some of these families were the Picos, Alvarados, Carrillos, Peraltas, De la Gueras, and Vallejos. Some of the land grants reached massive proportions. For example, Pio and Andre Pico owned Santa Margarita and Las Flores, a whopping 133,440 acres in what is now Southern California, land that would be valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars today. The land grants themselves had a maximum limit of 50,000 acres, but multiple grants were given to citizens. For example, Mariano Vallejo held enormous amounts of land, well surpassing the limit of 50,000 acres. He did this by accumulating more than one grant, perhaps through different family members or by simply reapplying. And he held this land up in the northern part of Alta California. Then, once all the land grants were passed out, trade with New Mexico started after the opening of the old Spanish Trail, and more trade with the Sonora Trail came about. The Californios also traded via ships to their home base in modern-day Mexico, and they traded with several of the other European countries, including England, Russia, and Spain, and although not European, the United States. Interestingly enough, there are several documented cases of American cattlemen driving cattle to California for a profit prior to the Civil War. These are found on JSTOR and EBSCOhost if you go look at diaries of cattlemen prior to the Civil War. This trade eventually led to extreme wealth for the Mexican Alta California citizens. And this is the extreme wealth of legends, and I believe why a lot of people are fascinated with California history, because these families, they managed to accumulate so much wealth. They They defy what historians have said about Californio history, because a lot of historians will say that wealth prior to the gold rush in California didn't exist and that the Mexicans were lazy, which is simply not true. Now, I don't have enough time to cover all of Californio history in this episode, so this is the end of part 1 of the Californio history. Stay tuned for the next episode, where I plan on diving into the enormous wealth of the Californios, and in the other parts I will be going over various family stories, the type of lives the Californios had, and the lives of the vaquero workers. So make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more history. Thank you and have a great day.